All right, chat. Without further ado, inventors that were killed by their own inventions. Let's get it. Let's go.
Inventions that killed their inventors.
Flying car.
You ever get crammed and jammed in seemingly endless traffic and you just...
I heard the words crammed and jammed, and I thought we were going to go the Johnny Sins route there. I really thought we were going to go down a different avenue on that, so I'm glad we found our way back to traffic.
Wanna... Whoop, not that. Roll it again. You ever get crammed and jammed in seemingly endless traffic and you just wanna... Well, that's what this saucy rack of ribs tried to invent in the early 90s.
Saucy rack of ribs, what the fuck? Aren't flying cars a real thing, by the way, guys? Aren't flying cars like actually a thing? But and the only reason we don't use them is because airspace is too hard to control and all that stuff, and it would actually be like less effective than just traveling on the ground. I'm pretty sure that we have flying cars. They're just too inconvenient for us to use.
1970s. This is Henry Smolinski, a certified American aerospace engineer with a small car and a big dream. Partnered in business with his business partner and fellow engineer Harold Blake, the two sought to develop a compact and affordable flying car to cut down on highway congestion. This completely disregards the fact that 33.33% of drivers can't drive for shit, but I guess they thought expanding the margin of error from a simple road to the entire fucking sky was a solid business plan, but I digress.
Bro, so facts. And I'd say the percentage isn't even 33. It's like 80%. If you guys have ever driven on I-95, oh my God, it's like you're driving next to a bunch of Helen Kellers, dude. Genuinely, like I'm convinced that everyone that drives on I-95 actually doesn't have ears or eyes or any motor capabilities in their entire body. Like it's almost like they've never driven a day in their life.
The two fine fellas founded their own company, Advanced Vehicle Engineers. Together, they began to lay the groundwork, spending countless hours conceptualizing their design. Okay, but how are we gonna make the plane fly? But after a while, there was an epiphany. I got it. The two engineers would take a small car and a small plane and just kinda fuse them together. Yeah, that was the plan. Their invention, dubbed the Mizar, with...
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is going on, bro? I mean, what's really going on here? Like, this is just so much more inconvenient than just having highway traffic. You know what I mean? Like, this is never, like, happening in a million years. Like, we're never getting cars like this.
Is a makeshift, sloppy, back alley love child of an affordable, lightweight, and rather volatile Ford Pinto, combined with the wings and engine of a Cessna Skymaster. Just slap them bad boys together with a few screws and a couple of prayers, and you've conceptually got yourself a flying car. The basic rundown of the Mizar was for owners to drive to their nearby airport, lock the detachable wings to their cars, piss off the local air traffic controllers, fly to another airport near their desired destination.
Yeah, see, this shit just would never happen. Like, as much as I love the idea of flying cars and how sick that would be, the logistics actually just, they don't make any sense. Like, no one's ever going to be able to do this or justify the use of this stuff. Like having to drive to the local airport just to get the wings and then fly to another airport. It's like airspace is so valuable and it's like always being used, so this would just never happen in a million years.
Detach the wings for storage and drive off to where they needed to be, theoretically skipping over large portions of traffic. Once the workday was done, just reverse the process and you're home safe and sound just in time to dropkick your wife for spilling your spaghetti TV dinner all over the conversation pit. This was the 70s after all. Such a life-changing experience could be yours for the low, low price of 29 grand.
Wow. Oh my God. Fist me. 29 grand? Dude, back in the day, 29 grand was like your entire bank account. I mean, fuck, even today, that's your entire bank account. 29 grand back then had, dude, what, 60K today? Maybe even more. I don't really know the exact inflation rate, but...
And that's in 1970s dollars. That translates to about $210,000.
Oh, I'm so tight. Holy shit, was I way off. Almost triple. Damn, that's a terrible business idea. Who's like, dude, selling a car back in the day for 29 grand? I wouldn't even pay 29 grand for my firstborn child, bro. Go ahead and keep that shit.
Dollars in today's money. For comparison, the average cost of a new car in the early 1970s was about $4,000, so it wasn't exactly as affordable as they planned, but oh well, flying car. The design was finalized and a prototype was ready for testing.
if anybody actually
Professional
bought this.
pilot Charles Janice was hired to take the wheel. Now, he managed to get the craft airborne, but only for a few minutes. Shortly after takeoff, a portion of the mounting of the wings suddenly snapped, completely crippling Charles's.
So he died. I mean, he had to have crashed and died. Bro, imagine driving along in the 1970s, like you've never seen any sort of technology like this. Like you barely even understand how planes work, and you look up and there's just a fucking flying car in the sky. Like, what even is your reaction to that?
Turning ability. If he were to try to turn the plane, his wings would buckle under aeronautical stresses and send him careening back to Earth in a very foreshadowy type death. Instead, Charles skillfully and poetically landed the Pinto in a nearby bean field just a few miles from the runway.
Clutch.
With a police escort, he managed to drive the car-plane hybrid back to the airport. However, such a high-profile landing of a prototype aircraft caught the attention of the National Transportation Safety Board. They investigated the root cause of the emergency landing and found the Mizar's design to just be plain terrible. The car was shoddily welded to the aircraft frame, which was already severely overburdened by the car's 2,000-pound weight. Any other components connecting the car to the wings were cheap.
Wow, what's crazy is that 2,000 pounds nowadays is like fucking nothing. That's actually wild that was considered like heavy back in the day. Like 2,000 pounds nowadays, or wait, yeah, no, 2,000 pounds nowadays is like nothing. That's like a full carbon fiber Bugatti, if that.
Structurally questionable and the engineering equivalent of duct tape. It got the job done, sure, but just barely. And if you're risking your life to fly or just be in a plane, you don't want it to be just barely functional. Right, Boeing? Nah, they know. Despite several warnings from the NTSB, Smolinski and Blake just kind of shrugged the whole fiasco off. Since they were able to capture real footage of their revolutionary product physically flying through the sky, publicity surrounding the Mizar soon took off. Multiple pre-orders poured in from consumers looking to have that unforgettable.
Stop the cap. No one's buying this. I'm sorry. Back in the 1970s, if you tell me to spend 29 grand, the only people that are buying this are like the Rockefellers. No one's buying this shit. The thing is like, I actually am curious to know who was placing pre-orders for this, because the logistics, like just common sense tells you like, dude, this is not a good idea and this is never gonna work.
Experience of clenching their buttholes to each and every metal.
What the fuck did I just hear? Clenching buttholes? How did...
creak as they haphazardly glide through the skies in an amalgamation of steel. Fun fact though, since this was late 1973, you theoretically could pop on Freebird to maximize the experience. Now the promotional footage was alright, but the two engineers needed themselves a fully sustained successful flight to really seal the deal. Completely ignoring all NTSB recommendations to make their aircraft safer and even neglecting to address the issues from the previous failed attempt, the only change that they made was slamming on a bigger, heavier engine to help sustain flight. They even phoned up their pilot pal Charles to lead the second charge. He said no.
I really don't get like how these people who pre-order like thought this was gonna work. Like that thing is just so obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's like, it literally just looks like a haphazard pile of bullshit, a pile of rubbish. Like, I don't know.
So on September 11th, 1973, the two towers.
And this isn't even like, I mean, it might be the craziest thing to ever happen on September 11th in the country's history. Flying a flying car. Might be the craziest thing to ever happen.
Towering engineers buckled themselves up for the ride. But when problems aren't addressed, history is a funny way of repeating itself. Just a few minutes into their flight, the compromised wings began to fail under the weight of the new engine, and with one small turn, everything.
That actually kind of, okay, I like look, got jump scared by that. I don't know why that actually scared me. I wasn't expecting that sound.
Began to fall apart. Literally. The wings effectively disintegrated and tore themselves away from the.
What? They disintegrated? Where are they? The stratosphere? How the fuck did they get so high up? They're dead. There's no way this guy lives, right?
Car, leaving Henry and Harold to nosedive back to Earth. With a single fatal slam, the two engineers met their demise, taking.
Wow, they actually died. Fuck, I thought they were about to make some funny joke and they'd be like, oh, they're alive. No, they actually just fucking perished. Damn. Wow, that's crazy. I bet they're taking back all those pre-orders, bro.
With them the future of their company, as well as the Mizar. Traffic doesn't seem so bad now, does it? Time to go from acrophobia to thalassophobia.
No, I can't do it. I hate the ocean, bro. I hate the deep ocean. I hate big things. I can't do this. I'm already scared.
Way before we had Xbox controllers attempting to navigate us through ocean depths, we had something much more rudimentary. Say hello to the HL Hunley, a hand-cranked, human-powered submarine with a big old bomb attached to it. It's like a relaxing paddle boat on a picturesque pond, but compact, cramped, claustrophobic, and with a big old bomb attached to it. This diving death dungeon was—
oh my god, you couldn't pay me $1 million to get on this bullshit. Oh my gosh, they probably had to pay to get on here and on this death trap, dude. Same thing with the Titan submersible. Like, if you guys are curious, like, look up how quickly the submersible collapsed under that water. The craziest part is that the people who died don't even know they died. That's how fast it happened. It literally was like Titan submersible, and then boom, it was dead. Everyone's dead. Everyone's gone. The pressure was too intense. Like that, like, god damn it, loaves of bread, dude. You actually couldn't pay me money to go that far into the ocean. I don't give a damn if I'm in reinforced titanium, diamond, uranium submarine. I am not going down there.
the invention of one Horace Lawson Hunley. Look at that, HL Hunley. Now, before you think that that's some kind of narcissistic power move, let me explain. Back in the days of the Civil War in the less than United States, the Confederacy was aching in the sack for any kind of technological advantage over the Union. You see, in the early days of the war, the Union had sent out several warships to blockade Confederate ports, most notably in Charleston, South Carolina. With all of these ships just sitting there, menacingly, the Confederacy was powerless to send or receive any supplies lest they be converted into aquarium decorations on the seabed. To make matters worse, the Confederacy didn't really have much in the ways of a formal navy. The Union controlled almost all of the industrial power, and as such, the South didn't have the technology, let alone any firepower capable of taking these Union warships head on. So if they couldn't—
I find it crazy that we actually went to war with ourselves. Like, I feel like I forget that all the time. Like, we have gone to war with ourselves in our own country. It always, like, makes me wonder, like, if we ever had a war today, genuinely, how do you guys think our country would handle it? I don't think we'd be able to. I think, like, with the way, like, people are raised today, and, like, myself included, I'd be like, yeah, bro, I'm just not showing up to that shit. Like, imagine getting drafted. Like, you know how they had the military draft back in the day? Like, imagine, like, sitting at home on your couch watching your TV, watching the draft, and you get drafted first overall. And they're like, with the first pick in the military draft, they select Carter Foley. And then your whole family, like, starts clapping. Or maybe they don't start clapping. I don't know. But it's like, genuinely, what do you do, bro? I'm actually going upstairs and I'm pulling the plug if that ever happened to me. I don't play those games, bro.
When face to face, they thought, why not try face to ass? Combative.
What? Why are they talking about my favorite way to do things in this video? How did we get to that topic?
Speaking, of course.
I'm just kidding.
Supplying that ingenuity and elbow grease was none other than the aforementioned Confederate Marine engineer Horace Lawson Hunley. Partnered with fellow facial-haired engineers James McClintock and Baxter Watson, the trio developed and tested 3 submersibles. The first one, the Pioneer, was tested in Nolans. But as the North took over the area in 1862, she had to be intentionally sunk to avoid having her design stolen. The second sub, the American Diver, improved on the Pioneer's flaws but ultimately sank in a rather unlucky surge of bad weather not long after.
Oh my god, it's not even one person tall, guys. Look at this shit. Literally, the only place is there's 2 like head holes. This guy is like barely fitting in here. That's crazy. Why would you ever submit yourself to that kind of torture?
Now that leaves the third sub. Unnamed, this sub further improved on previous designs. Steam and electrical engines were deemed impractical, thus this sub's propulsion was powered by hand. 16 hands, actually. You know, there's nothing like 8 dudes crouched over cranking their shaft while shoulder to shoulder in a
Alright. Yo, whoever made this video, Chat History, I think his name is, brother, we're losing the plot here. Like, this is some shit I would say, so I really can't, like... I really can't comment on it too much, but it's like, come on, bro. I mean, reserve that for me, dude.
Confined space, and I mean a real confined space. The sub's hull measured just over 4 feet in diameter, so not only was it an ergonomic hellhole, but all that huffing and puffing from that shaft roughing.
I would rather get blindfolded, kidnapped, taken to an abandoned warehouse, lubed up on my back end, spanked, and then inserted into than do this bullshit. Like, actually, this is the kind of thing that I'd expect like prisoners of war to have to go through. Not, I volunteer as tribute. Let me go, coach. Let me go. Like, no, bro, it's just not happening. Like, God damn it. Like, why would you even put yourself in this situation?
Was actually a huge detriment to the crew. That's because this sub had no air ventilation system. So dives, although only 6 to
Isn't
10
that
feet
all
below the
submarines,
surface,
though?
were on a biological clock, with most dives lasting no more than a single hour. So missions needed to be quick and efficient or risk disaster. Unfortunately for the vessel, her early crew didn't even make it to the diving stage.
Damn.
Well, not successfully anyway. The captain accidentally triggered a dive while the hatches above were still open, flooding the
I mean, how the fuck do you accidentally do that? You literally have one job, and that's to close the capsule when you are ready to go, and you accidentally sink the entire ship. I mean, brother, man, some shit just writes itself.
sub and drowning 5 of the 8 crew.
Oh my god, they drowned. Okay, this is gonna kind of sound fucked up. How do you drown in this scenario, bro? I mean, just swim out. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. Like, it's probably scary. Like, you're probably stressed, brother, man. Let's swim out. Let's use our swimming abilities, our God-given abilities. Let's get out of the capsule. I don't know how, dude. If I died to do drowning's got to be the worst way to die. I think either drowning or getting burned alive has to be the worst way to die. 100%.
Kind of foreboding. The sub was almost immediately raised and thrown right back into service, but this time, Hunley himself
Shit's
took to the
ruthless,
helm to
bro.
perform a training exercise on October 15th, 1863. The exercise was a success. All Hunley needed to do was float the sub back to the surface.
And he died.
It never came back to the surface. At just 39 years old, Hunley, along with the other 7 men of the crew, drowned after a mechanical failure had compromised the sub's buoyancy.
Gosh, I just could never have. I could never imagine having just balls made of titanium steel in order to do this kind of thing. Like, this to me is crazy. I would never. Like, I don't give a damn if I was like Einstein, bro. I would never trust my own invention this much. Dude, I don't know. You could never. You couldn't get me within 100 feet of that ship. You couldn't even get it with me within the same state or zip code as that ship.
Well, waste not, want not. The Confederacy raised the sub a second time, shook out the bloated corpses, and returned it to service.
Okay, so, oh my god, you're a pigeon, bro. Actually a loaf of bread, you're a walnut, you're a watermelon. Twice in a row and we're still going? Dude, let's take a hint here, brother, man. Like, come on.
But this time being formally named the HL Hunley in the inventor's honor. See, it wasn't narcissistic, just horribly tragic. Hunley was Dunley, but it wasn't the end of his legacy. The sub, on its 3rd voyage, was tasked with finally making a dent in the Union's South Atlantic blockading squadron. Bunch of bastards. Fully manned, the Hunley carved through the water and commenced its attack on one of the unsuspecting ships. The Hunley managed to blow a hole right into the wooden hull of the USS Housatonic,
Wow.
becoming the first submarine to sink an enemy ship in combat. But
Ever? Wow, that's sick. I can't even lie, it's kind of aura. I'm surprised the bomb didn't blow him up, though. I feel like with as shitty as this ship and these experiments have gone so far, I feel like this shit would have been blown to smithereens.
there was collateral damage, a
Okay.
lot of it.
Should
Although
let the video
successful, the attack didn't exactly go according to plan. You see, what was supposed to happen was that the charge was to stick to the Housatonic. The charge, still connected to the Hunley with a length of rope, would be detonated after the Hunley backed away a safe distance. After hitting that distance, the tension on
I mean, bro, they've got some actual kindergartners designing this shit. I mean, how hard is it, dude? 3 mess ups within probably the same week? I mean, lock in, engineers.
the rope would trigger a detonation mechanism, setting off the 135-pound black powder charge. But since this charge was set off on impact, historians agree that the resulting shockwave from the explosion passed right through the sub, drastically shifting the pressure of the air within the vessel and subjecting the crew to a little something called blast lung. Basically, the lungs of each crew member were instantly obliterated.
Oh my god, that's so fucked. Oh god, that's so fucked up. I couldn't even imagine that happening to me. Oh, that's such a slow and painful death. You just stop breathing. Oh, goodness gracious. Just stick it in me. That's
Killing
horrible.
all 8 men right where they sat. With its crewy now gone kablooey, the Hunley sank and remained lost for over a century until being rediscovered in 1995. The wreck was raised from the ocean floor in 2000, spooky scary skeletons included.
Oh my god. What's interesting to me is that how they know all the history of this machine, even though it was sunk 100 years ago. I mean, I guess like maybe they wrote it down, but it's like sometimes I feel like historians just be making some bullshit up. You guys ever wonder that, like, if historians are really telling the truth or if they're just like yapping about some random nonsense? I feel like they are sometimes.
Now we go from thalassophobia to spelunkophobia. Lots of phobias today.
God, I hate
you never
caves,
fully
bro.
comprehend just how friggin' dark mining used to be back in the days of old. Nowadays, professional mining headlamps are able to churn out about 1,000 lumens. I mean, heck, even your phone screen produces about 600 lumens at full brightness as you blast your retinas at 2 a.m. and wonder why you can't sleep. Now, compare those numbers to actual candlelight, the most basic of lighting technology used since ancient times. Even back then, mine shafts still reached hundreds of feet into the earth, and all you had were a handful of candles to light your way through the dark. So compared to a modern headlamp at 1,000...
Do you guys think that would be a vibe back in the day? Bro, I feel like depending on what mine shaft you're working in, I feel like mining could be a sick job. Like, imagine just, like, going mining and, like, finding some diamonds. I mean, I don't know if, like, mining is like Minecraft. It's probably not. But, like, I feel like that'd be kind of sick. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I need to do more research on mining.
1,000 lumens, a single tallow candle emits only about 15 lumens. Drastically different. Instead of a single lamp lighting up a whole cavern, you had several itty-bitty candles illuminating a small line on the wall.
That's freaky
While
as
this
fuck.
was
That's like a
impractical
horror
from
movie,
a
dude.
vision standpoint, it was also super-duper dangerous. When mining for coal,
probably
as humans
gases
often
in
do,
the air,
it's
no?
very common to release pockets of something called fire damp. Fire damp.
I knew it. Yo, chat, I'm not just a TikToker, bro. I actually got some knowledge on me. When you're mining, like, you release, like, gases in the air, and it could get ignited by those candles.
If you're unaware, is a mixture of naturally occurring gases, primarily methane. That stuff just naturally ekes out of coal-bearing rock over time. Actively chipping away at it doesn't do you any favors. Now, I'm sure you are aware that introducing methane to an open flame goes about as well as introducing a healthy cactus into your asshole.
What, dude? Oh. What, bro?
Miners were always in danger of a sudden explosion from leaking gases creeping.
I forgot we were talking about actual miners for a second, and I thought he was talking about miners right after that cactus line. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where's this video going? But like, where are we losing the plot this much?
Across
Okay,
their
continue.
candles. Well, that's when English lad Carlisle Spedding put his foot down. He came up with this baby in the 1730s, the Carlisle Steel Mill. Why have
like
a
a
somewhat
torture
steady
device.
emission of dim light from a line of candles when you could just have a dude ripping away on this bad boy? The design was simple, inefficient, and retrospectively
Yeah, what
stupid.
does that do?
Setting the device on his lap or his leg, the operator pressed a piece of flint against a steel wheel and cranked the crank, hopefully generating a feeble, fleeting stream of sparks. And those sparks served as your light source. Nope, I'm not kidding. So imagine
What? How would that work if you're holding your pickaxe in one hand? And that doesn't make any sense.
swanging your friggin' sweet third age pickaxe while Sparky Steve over here is sniffing your shoulders
okay,
and just
got it.
showering
God, no shit, Carter. I mean, do I ever use my brain, bro? I don't know why I just have such a hard time processing these things.
you in fragments of burning rock and metal. Hey. You're doing a good job.
Yo, what the fuck is going on, bro? I feel like the more and more we get into this video, the more and more we are like, this is some freaky ass like X videos intro, bro. Like, what is happening?
The basic idea was that while open flames definitely cause explosions, sparks might not. In theory, they just don't sustain long enough to trigger an explosive reaction. In theory. Now you might be sitting
That's a
there with
terrible
potato
theory.
chips on your belly like, why not just use a lantern? That's a good question, and those are good critical thinking skills. But lanterns weren't exactly gas-proof either. Methane could still leak in through the frame and lick the flame. While Spedding was an inventor, he still served as a hands-on mining engineer, supervising shafts and checking out holes.
Yo, I feel like me and this guy will be friends, bro. I mean, I don't know if he. Oh, I like mad. Okay, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but me and this guy will be friends, I think.
But on August 8th, 1755, in a coal pit in the town of Whitehaven in England, Spedding learned the hard way that even his invention couldn't hold a candle to modern safety practices. Woo. The poor dude done died in a mining methane explosion, reportedly caused by the sparks of one of his own steel mills.
Damn.
He was 59.
Why, here's my question. Why are all these people using the same fucking, like, why do they use their inventions? Like I said, I would never trust myself to use my own invention. I don't care what it is.
Despite the tragedy, the steel mill continued to be used for another 60 years until the invention of the safety lamp in 1815. There were alternatives like calcium carbide lamps, but they were still open flame light sources, so you were just back to square one.
Really makes you think, bro, about how, like, we were born in possibly the best time period. Like, dare I say, like, I feel like we're born in a time period where technology hasn't advanced too much, where it's, like, overwhelming. Okay, I feel like it already is overwhelming, kind of. But, like, imagine we were born, like, 100 years earlier, maybe even, like, 200 years earlier. We would have been cooked, chat.
Books. Books. Books are neat. Granted, less and less people even read these things nowadays. They were once the absolute only way to store tons of information for scholars and casual readers alike.
I wish we still had scrolls, bro. Having scrolls in the modern era would be so dope. Like, imagine having to just fucking crank open a scroll. Or, like, getting a letter, like, some fucking, like, pigeon just comes in and sits on your shoulder. Letter out of their mouth. You read that shit. It's just a scroll, like the Dragon Warrior kind of stuff. That'd be so sick.
The invention of the printing press revolutionized the industry and allowed even the poorest fellas to dive into scientific discoveries or fictional realms. Once they learned how to read, of course. I like the pictures. But as humanity continued to evolve, so did the technology. Higher demand required faster, more efficient machines to carry the burden. To help bridge that gap, a rotary printing press was invented in 1843.
Don't tell me some random dude died by a printing press. That's gotta be the most depressing way to go. Imagine your life ending over a printing press, or in a printing press, or on a printing press. I don't know. Let's unpause. Holy shit, dude! Why do I keep stuttering?
By American inventor Richard March Hoe. Hoe's design drastically sped up the process. Previous flatbed printers usually capped out at about 1,000 sheets per hour, whereas the rotary press was slinging out 8,000 per hour.
Wow.
Over time, rotary presses grew into
like
more complex and monstrous machines, capable of producing up to 30,000 pages an hour. Good job, but not good job enough.
Like an amusement
While
park
the
ride,
throughput
like
was respectable, the machines were very inefficient. Every paper was hand-fed, requiring extensive staffing to keep the machine running. There was also the drawback of each page only being printed one-sided, so printed pages needed to be flipped and re-fed onto another side of the machine to complete it. It was a whole song and dance to make the machine work optimally. But peeking in on the right side of the screen was American inventor William Bullock.
It amazes me, and I know this is like why they're inventors, but it amazes me like how people even like came up with this shit. It's like, I want to watch a video on this eventually because I'm sure there's one out there, but like how the fuck did we come up with Bluetooth or like radio or like phones calling, any of that stuff? Bro, in what world does Bluetooth, the concept of Bluetooth make sense? You're telling me you looked at the entirety of planet Earth, rocks, mountains, water, trees, whatever, and we somehow made Bluetooth? You will never convince me that Bluetooth is actually something real and that like makes sense.
He took one look at Hoe's machine and scoffed. Huh. Bullock, already a successful inventor with farming tools such as a seed planter, grain drill, and a hay press, looked to expand his catalog. After a few years of making tweaks to Hoe's original design, Bullock unveiled his web rotary printing press in 1863. Using one continuous sheet of paper, the web press could print double-sided and cut pages in a single pass, all while matching Hoe's 30,000 page per hour speed at a fraction of the cost. Bullock's design became the new standard in the printing industry, printing himself a pretty penny in his pocket. But there's never gonna be a more iconic duo than a cluster of moving mechanical parts and a fragile human body. Luckily for Bullock though, he wouldn't be ending up black and blue and red all over, just his leg. One day, while making adjustments to one of his newly installed printing presses, Bullock needed to strap a dry belt onto a pulley. Now, nearby tools were a perfectly suitable option, but
oh god, this is like my worst nightmare, just death by machinery. Bro, it makes me always like, it makes me like imagine, dude, dare I say it was in Final Destination? I don't know. But like those tree chopping or like the tree shedding machines or whatever they're called, dude, those scare the shit out of me. Every time I see one, I just get reminded. It's from some movie. I forget what movie it was, but like someone got like thrown into one of those like tree machines and just turned into a human smoothie in there. And it always is just like in my mind every time I see one of those things.
Bullock opted for the classic dad move of just kicking that thing right on there, while the machine was still on.
Why?
With one misplaced
you're a
kick,
loaf of bread,
his
bro.
foot had slipped, sending his entire right leg into the drive mechanism of the...
Oh, fist me. That's actually so bad. I need to butter my nips after that. That's actually crazy. God, that's disgusting. Oh, dude, if I ever lost one of my limbs, I feel like I could survive losing an arm. Let me know what you guys think. I think I'd be able to survive losing an arm, but losing a leg, low key, you're gonna have to pull the plug on me, brother, man. I'm gonna be honest, you're gonna have to pull the plug. I don't think I can live without both legs. If I couldn't walk, oh my God, I'd be depressed. Like, that's just no way to live life, dude. Shout out to all my amputees, though. Love y'all. Love y'all. Hope y'all get better soon. Fuck. Get better soon. Their legs are gone. Yeah, I didn't mean that. I mean, I hope you do get better soon, but like in like a mental way, not obviously a bodily way, because that's not possible. All right, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let the video play again.
machine, crushing it like a used-up tube of toothpaste. And this, dear viewer, is why lockout-tagout practices are important. Now, Bullock was rescued from the...
Oh my God, that scared the actual... I thought my... Oh my God, I actually just had a heart attack. Fuck me. Just stick it in. My girlfriend is like in the living room right now. I just like felt something. It was this thing moving because it's like disconnected, like it's like really loose and wobbly. I just fuck, replay the video. I just got so scared.
machine, but the extent of his injuries ultimately proved fatal. Over the next several days, gangrene set in,
probably died to
prompting doctors
infection.
to attempt to amputate the infected leg.
Oh my
He
God.
didn't make it through surgery.
Imagine
Bullock's
getting your
fate was
leg
signed,
amputated,
sealed, and
dude.
delivered on April 12th, 1867.
Bro, because back in the day, they didn't have anesthesia. If you had to go through surgery, you had to be awake the entire time. Oh my God. I'd rather you just pull the plug. Seriously. I could not do that shit. Dude, oh, fuck. That makes my nuts tingle and tighten just thinking about that.
He was 53.
Lightning
Now, this is certainly one
electrometer.
of the
This just sounds like
stranger
some shit that
deaths
would
on the
kill you.
list. Machines can be big and scary, sure, but sometimes Mother Nature is the one that punches us in the face with...
What the fuck? Yo, this animator needs to be locked up. This chat history guy, like, what are we doing, dude? Not once in my life have I ever seen Mother Nature be depicted as some sort of Only Friends star. Like, you know what I mean, chat? Come on now.
we don't respect her enough. But someone like Georg Wilhelm Rieckmann already knew that. He was a Russian physicist.
Yo, imagine, sorry, I keep fucking pausing. Imagine, like, coming home back in the day and this is your fine shit. Like, what am I looking at? Like, what sort of Sid the Sloth reincarnation, Lady Glitter Sparkles looking head ass am I looking at right now? I just, like, imagine having to come home and sit on that face, dude. I couldn't do it. I mean, no shit, I couldn't do it. Fuck that. That's not a good look. All right, I'm screwed. I'm gonna let the video play.
Who pioneered the field of electrical research, mainly naturally occurring electrical phenomena. You know, like lightning. Dangerous business, that, but someone has to do it. Might as well be the fellow that's at least passionate about it. To help with his research, York designed an electrical rod system that allowed him to measure the intensity of electrical charges in the atmosphere. Ideally, he wanted to quantify the electrical charge of a lightning bolt during a thunderstorm. You can probably already guess how this is going to end. Of course, harnessing the power of a lightning bolt is much easier said than done. Actually, it should never be done unless you have the proper equipment over here, and you fucked off somewhere far away, like over there. But a little bit of safety wasn't going to stop dear York's dream. His design was kind of simple. It was basically an insulated iron rod slammed through the roof of his house. The rod was responsible for collecting any electrical charge present in...
What's the chance of being struck by lightning? What is it? Isn't it less than, or isn't it more likely than winning the lottery? Oh, let's see. Chances of being struck by lightning. Let's see. You have a 1 in, oh my God, 500,000. Okay, I know that's a lot. That is way less than I thought it was, though. Holy shit. Bro, hold on. How many people have been struck by lightning? There's no way it's 1 in 500. What the fuck? 240,000 lightning injuries occur per year, with around 24,000 deaths reported annually. Finger me. There's no way that's true. Survivors of these lightning strikes often suffer long-term health effects, with about 75% experiencing ongoing problems like cataracts, hearing loss, or neurological issues. That's crazy. Holy shit. Wait, let me see. Okay, wait. So what are the odds of winning? What is the most? Isn't it Powerball is the biggest one? Dude, stop. This is cap. 1 in 292 million. So you're telling me that I have a better chance of getting struck by lightning? How many times is that? 584 times. I have a better chance of being struck by lightning 584 times than winning the Powerball? That's insane. I did not know the number was that high. That's actually fucking nuts.
In the atmosphere.
Wow.
The charge would then be diverted to a rudimentary electrometer, a secondary insulated iron rod with a linen thread attached to it. When the rod absorbed a charge, the thread would be deflected. That angle of deflection could be measured, allowing the scale of the charge to be quantified. I know this is a bunch of science stuff in a history video, but bear with me. On the fateful day of August 6th,
This guy has a chemical engineering degree and he's making these videos. Dude, shout out. I don't even know how you end up here, but that's actually kind of sick. Chemical engineering degree, and this guy's making YouTube videos. I love it.
53 in St. Petersburg, Rickman caught wind of a storm brewing outside. He quickly rushed home to conduct a study, bringing with him a witness to record his measurements. The two set up shop in the lab and began their observations. If you ever decide to play around with electricity, the most important thing—
I promise you, bro, not a single motherfucker, or at least any normal motherfucker watching this video is thinking about playing with electricity anytime soon. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's, we got like 500 people in total watching the stream right now. I mean, I hope you guys are smarter than a pile of rocks and you don't play with electricity.
You need to do is make sure that you, or whatever you're working with, is properly grounded. This gives any sudden, dangerous electrical surges somewhere to go. Somewhere that isn't you. What Rickman failed to do, as you could probably guess by my warning, was ground his electrometer. Lightning struck Rickman's device. The rod was now overcharged, and that charge was looking for the quickest escape route. Unfortunately for Rickman, he was the escape route. According to his witness's testimony, something very strange happened. I wouldn't get too close to that, dude. As Rickman approached the rod to look at the measurement, a bluish white ball of fire about 4 inches in diameter shot from the rod and into his forehead, electrocuting him instantly.
Wow. Into the forehead? Dude, is it painful to die by electricity? Do you guys think? I wonder how painful an electrocution death is. I mean, they use it as capital punishment, so is it bad? I don't know. I feel like it depends on it. Like, I feel like at a certain point, the electricity is too powerful where you probably just die instantly because all your nerves get like shocked. Look it up. Okay, let me look it up. Is dying by electricity a bad feeling? I mean, no shit, it's a bad feeling, but like, how bad is it? Yes, death by electrocution is painful since the electric current produces involuntary muscle contractions, burns, and ultimately cardiac arrest. Yeah, that's what I think is interesting about like electrocution. Is like sometimes like you'll hear the stories of like somebody grabbing something that's electrocuted and they can't let go because their muscles are like spasming. They literally can't let go. Like they could literally just let go and they'd be fine, or else, I mean, they wouldn't be fine. They'd have injuries. But like they could just let go and potentially live, but they can't because their body won't let them. I find it interesting.
The sudden discharge of all of that electricity at once caused a concussive blast that tore through Rickman's lab, knocking the witness unconscious and ripping doors from their hinges.
That's crazy.
Rickman lay dead on the ground, with his clothes singed and a burn mark on his forehead where the bolt had entered his body, and his left shoe blown open from where it had exited. He was just 42. Now, because of the wording used in the eyewitness testimony, some historians attribute the death to a very rare phenomenon known as ball lightning, but others believe the incident—
Ball lightning? That's like some anime Goku shit right there. Ball lightning? Ball, right. That's what it sounds like.
To have merely been a clustered bolt. Either way, don't mess with lightning. It stings.
If you guys enjoyed watching this video, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like on it as well as subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to do daily uploads now, so if you guys want to watch any of my other content, if you found this video interesting, I'm going to leave all of those videos right up here. And if you guys haven't already hit that subscribe button, I'm going to leave that subscribe button right up here. I love you guys. Thank you for every single one of you guys for tuning into the video today, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.